Hello YouTube, Amy's Burrow here, and this video is a little something different for the channel. And I say that because, what are we talking about here? Wrestling. Yeah, I'm not, I usually don't do wrestling based videos, and a lot of you know this, but this one I thought an interesting topic. We're going to talk about the world title. And specifically, I want to talk about a certain area of the world who probably gets treated better in one section, in one company or one organization than they ever did in the other. We're going to be talking about the world title and Asian-born wrestlers. Okay? Now, I want you to think about something when I go over this. We're going to be talking about the number of champions that a company has had with their major title, and we're going to be talking about the number of wrestlers. And we're going to be focusing on two. The WWE and the National Wrestling Alliance, the NWA. Okay? I just want to clarify that, just so people don't, blow their lid here. Okay, WWE has had, and I checked, 111 world champions. Of that 111, soon to be 112, because we all know John Cena is going to win the title at WrestleMania. How many wrestlers of Asian descent, or that were Asian born, do you think held the WWE title? Here's your answer. 1. And he literally held it for 1 day. The man's name was Antonio Inoki, who's a legend overseas. But he held the WWE title for 1 day. And the title was later vacated when something happened with a rematch against Bob Backlund, whom he beat for the belt. But think about that. 1 day. Held it one time. And of the 111 champions that are currently on record, that's the only one. Before you mention, and by the way, before you mention Yokozuna, no. I didn't count him because he was born in San Francisco, California. Now, if someone wants to say his parents were from like Japan or somewhere in Asia, okay, I'll give you that. But that would only be 2 then. And what you'll find out is the other organization actually beats them. The National Wrestling Alliance has had about 89 different champions hold their title. Of those 89, 5 have held their championship that were of Asian descent, at least. Giant Baba, Tatsumi Fujinami, the Great Muta, Keiji Muto for those who know him by that name, Naoya Ogawa, who's a kickboxer, or an MMA fighter rather, and Shinya Hashimoto. By the way, of those wrestlers, I've actually had the pleasure of watching 2 of them work their magic in the wrestling ring. Muta and Fujinami. When I saw Fujinami, it was during one of the super shows that WCW had with New Japan. And he wrestled Ric Flair, and there was some confusion over the match because of the over-the-top rule. For those who don't know, in Japan, it is legal to throw a wrestler over a top rope. In WCW at the time, over the top was a disqualification. Also in Japan, they use a 20 count, whereas here in the US, we use a 10 count. Okay, so it's just something I thought I'd bring to the attention, because a lot of people don't know this. Okay? So the two major wrestling promotions in the U.S. organizations, 6 wrestlers held the title, but the NWA had 5 different. Think about that. Now, you may ask yourself, well, gosh, why bring this up? And what got you interested in this fact? Well, I was sitting here one day, actually it was very recently, and I said to myself, I said, Seth, do you remember that angle that WCW did where Bobby Heenan did the thing where he was trying to negotiate something with TBS and giving New Japan a half hour on WCW Pro? Do you remember that? And then think about how the Japanese wrestlers were, pushed or promoted in WCW. They were allowed to win matches for the most part. Okay, yeah. On WCW Pro, they mostly wrestled jobbers and they beat them. But they were allowed to win matches during one of the big matches, the big supercars, which was Starrcade. They did a World Cup of Wrestling thing. And yeah, they lost 4-3, but hey, they were allowed to at least win 3 matches. Oh! And hey, 2 wrestlers from Japan were actually allowed to win titles. Did you know that WCW actually had a women's championship? It was actually held by a woman named Akira Hokuto, who I'll be talking about her in a separate video, but she was the spouse, or she is the spouse rather, of Kenzuki Sasaki, who was a former U.S. champion in WCW, believe it or not. And in case you're wondering who he beat for the belt, he didn't beat anybody really big. No, just a former world champion, former television champion, former tag team champion. Yeah, and he held the world title in TNA. You may have heard of the guy. What was his name? Oh yeah, Sting! So it's not like he didn't beat anybody important, right? By the way, that was sarcasm. But it kind of makes you wonder, right? Is there a reason that Asian wrestlers are not generally allowed to hold a big title in a major wrestling organization? Well, let me put it this way. Not that they're not allowed to, but that it happens so few times. Like, alright. I watched a match where it was Samoa Joe versus Jushin Liger. This is at TNA pay-per-view, right? Now I'm thinking they're going to let Liger win, and because, okay, yeah, he's going to be there for one night, but you let the guy win, and because there might be some fans of, and by the way, they were literally the dueling chant thing going on. Some fans were chanting Liger, some were chanting Joe, and it was one of the greatest things ever. And they did the streamers, which was pretty awesome. But you sit there and you wonder, why doesn't it happen more often? I mean, I actually had a good laugh because I was watching this thing on WWE Fan Nation's channel called Superstar Search, right? And they got this dude, they call him Yoshitatsu. I forget the dude's actual name, to be honest. But they're doing a thing where they have a different talent, and they got Tatsu on there singing kind of badly, actually. But I said to myself, if he actually wins this thing, it's going to suck, because the only thing it'll make the fans think is he's capable of is winning basically a worked competition. Come on, do you think he's legitimately getting those votes? So let me again ask this question to you. What do you think the reason that a company like, say, WWE, which, by the way, one W stands for world, right? What do you think their reason is for not allowing a wrestler from, say, Japan or, well, I can't say Mexico, but let's say it's Japan at least, to hold their world title more than that one time and that one fucking day? Because honestly, 1 out of 111 and it's one day, and I know I emphasize that a lot, but think about it. Really, think about it. Go do this, humor yourself. Go on Wikipedia, and maybe I'll drop that link in the description. But go on Wikipedia and look up the list of WWE champions. Okay? I want you to physically go through that list of 111 and jot down the total combined days for title reigns of all of them. And then I want you to look at that one day and really, really, really analyze it, like I do, because it was something that just bothered. It's something that started to bother me. Because, okay, yeah, you have a character, you have someone like Yoshitatsu, but you're basically using him for comedy. Like, really? Come on now. The Japanese are willing to put over an American wrestler, like, say, Big Van Vader, the Steiner brothers, but it seems like it's rare that it's the other way around here in the U.S. Maybe it's a thing with Pearl Harbor style, I don't know. Let me know what you all think, because I would definitely be interested to hear what you have to say. So until next we meet, my friends, good night.